Okay, good morning or good afternoon, depending upon which class you're in. Hope your algebra kids are doing well. So here's what we got going on today. So welcome to Unit 3. We're going to be doing some things differently here in Unit 3 to better serve you. So feel free, use these videos, pause them when you need to, work through the example problems. You will get out of this what you put into it. So if you put forth a lot of effort, you'll get a lot out of it. If you don't, you won't. Make sure you ask questions when you're not sure about something. But you should have these notes in front of you. So I'm going to do the first 2 pages, go through some of these, and then you're going to do the last 2 pages and work on those. So again, like I said, as you have questions, make sure you ask them. But in the meantime, we're going to hop right into it. Unit 3 is all about graphing and linear functions. So let's take a look at what we have here. So again, the top part of this always has a little bit of help and practice problems for us. We're going to jump right in here to these problems though and see what we got. So all we have to do is determine whether or not each one of these equations is a linear equation. Linear, of course, just means to the first, if I can write, first power. There we go. So anything to the first power is linear, but we're also looking for something a little bit more than just first power, and we'll see what that means here in a second. So if we look at our first equation here, 2x equals 4y. Right, all I really need to do here is just try to get x and y together on the same side. We call that standard form, and so I believe I can do that. I can subtract, right, 4y from both sides, and I'm left with 2x, there you go, minus 4y equals, again, I have nothing on the right-hand side. So 2x minus 4y clearly is linear, so I will say yes to that one. Here we go, 6 plus y equals 8. Again, sometimes we don't necessarily have to have both x and y to make these linear, but in this case we do. If we wanted to move the 8 or the 6 to the other side, we could do that, but I will just simply say that yes, this one's linear. Number 3 looks a lot like number 1, 4x minus 2y, so that one is a yes. Number 4 looks different because I have 3xy plus 8 equals 4y. So, maybe our instincts would be to subtract 4y from both sides. And so we're left with an equation that looks like this. But this is not linear, though. We have 3xy. I can't break those apart from the other terms. So this is our first no. This is not linear. Number 5, 3x minus 4 equals 12. Again, if you wanted to write this in standard form, you would bring the 12 over here, so you'd subtract 12 and have 3x minus 16 equals 0. Right? Or we can just look at it and say, yep, that clearly is linear. What I said earlier about the first power, right? Here I see x squared. Right, this is a dead giveaway, no, right? You're to the second power. You are a quadratic function, but you are not a linear function. Function and equation are kind of synonyms. Number 7, yes, that one is. If you wanted to flip-flop the terms, so it was negative 4x plus y equals 9. There's your standard form of that one. Number 8, again, x plus 8. Yes, that one is a linear equation. Number 9, write this one in standard form. So negative 2x, we would subtract 4y from each side. Plus 3 equals 0. There you go. Of course, this one is as well. Number 10, again, write this one in standard form. 1/2 x. We would subtract a y to move it to the left. Subtract y. Plus 2 equals 0. This one, alright, is definitely linear. Alright, number 11. Easier for me really just to move the 1/4 y over to the right. So you would have 0, if I can write, equals Let's move some terms around when we do this. Negative 4x. How would we move 1/4 over? Well, we would subtract 1/4 y, and it's a positive 12 or a plus 12. So yes, this one, all right, is also a linear equation. Our last one here, number 12, is a no. Okay, so there's our first page of notes. Again, if you need to pause this at any time, go ahead and do that. If not, we're going to go ahead and fast forward to page number 2. Bam, just like that, it appears. Okay, so here's page number 2. Now we're asked to graph these linear equations, and we're going to use many methods this year to graph. 2 of them that we're going to do today, you'll see, are intercepts and making tables. So if we're going to use intercepts, let me go ahead and zoom in here. All right, so if I'm going to use intercepts, the first thing I'm going to do is just figure out what my x-intercept is and then my y-intercept. And to figure out your x-intercept, all I really need to do is set my equation equal to x. So forget about y for a second and just say, hey, 2x equals negative 2. Equals negative 2. There we go. Now solve this for x. So we would divide by 2. Right, divide by 2, x equals negative 1. So go put a dot on negative 1. I'll say that that's got to be right about here. Let's do the same thing for y. So again, set y equal to negative 2. Nothing to really solve here, right? We just, y is negative 2. So find negative 2 on the y-axis right here. And graph, just like that. It's that easy. Okay, number 2, 3x is equal to negative 3. I think x is equal to negative 1. Okay. Be careful, negative 6y equals negative 3. Alright, so y equals, let's see, negative 3 divided by a negative 6 is going to be positive 1/2. And this is an okay example, right, of where intercepts are okay, but sometimes they fall down. If I get anything other than a nice integer, they don't work too well. All right, let's see what number 3 has for us. Again, negative 2x equals negative 2. All right, x equals 1. And y equals negative 2. Nothing really to solve there. Voila, just like that. So intercepts, not bad if we get nice numbers here. So that's one method that we can use to graph. Let's look at our second method, which is using a table. So if we make a table, we're referring to an x and a y table. All right, this is where we get to pick any values we'd like to and plug them in and then solve this equation. Sounds really complicated, it's not. So unless you get a fraction, kids, your best 3 choices for numbers, just negative 1, 0, and positive 1. I choose 3 in case we mess up something. We know these are going to be linear, so they're going to give us a straight line. So if I take negative 1 and I plug it in to this equation, so now it's y equals 2 times negative 1. Well, that's equal to negative 2. So there's one ordered pair we could graph. For my second, now it's y is equal 2x, right, or 2 times 0. That's 0. Okay. And my third number I chose was 1, so now it's y equals 2x, or 2 times 1. Which is 2. So I'll put a 2 here. So here's your 3 ordered pairs. So the first one's negative 1, negative 2, 0, 0, and 1, 2. Right? I chose 3 because if you accidentally mess up on one of them, right, you would get a third point and it wouldn't make a straight line, and then you would have a dead giveaway that you did something wrong. Okay, so let's take a look here at number 5. Again, going to make another table on this one. here's my x and y. Again, -1, 0, and 1 are my three numbers of choice. So here I've got -1, minus y equals -1. And you can choose, kids, to simplify this. Like if we noticed the equation on number 4 was solved for y, so if we solve this equation for y, that might speed this process up, right? So maybe we go back and do that. I think it's easier for us maybe if we move y over here to the right. So we would add a y. So now it's x equals -1 plus y. Then maybe move that 1 over, that -1 really over, so we would add 1. So now this looks like x plus 1 equals y. Okay, that might not be a bad strategy to use. So here, let's just pretend I don't have any of that there. So now it's x plus 1 equals y. So if x is -1, so now I have -1 plus 1 equals y, so that turns into 0. Then we'd have 0 plus 1 equals y. Well, that's just 1. And then you've got 1 plus 1 equals y. I believe that to be 2. Now we're at the easy part. Go ahead and let's make our graph. There's our 3 points. They make a straight line, so we're good there. Alright, and we've got one more to do. Again, make another table, x and y, 0 and 1. Again, not a bad idea to solve your equation here, for y, that is at least. So let's go ahead and move x over, so 2y equals 4 minus x. And divide everybody by 2 now. Divide by 2. So y equals, you can leave it as 4 minus x divided by 2. If you'd like to divide each one of those in half, you can. And I'm actually going to pick a couple different numbers here. Look, I'm going to change this to a -2 and a 2. Alright. So really this is the same as 2 minus 1/2 x. There we go. Because we do see a fraction here, I'll give you a good mathematical decision, and that would be if you have a fraction and you're graphing with a table, choose multiples of the denominator, right? That's why I changed from -1 to -2 and from 1 to 2, right? -4 and 4, 6 and -6, you get the idea. Any of those numbers will work because they'll turn our integer, or our -1/2 x will turn into a nice integer when we do this. Okay, let's see what we got here. So first one we're going to do, so y equals 2 minus 1/2 times -2, right? You really got to watch your signs here. So we simplify all this. -1/2 times -2 is just a +1. So this turns into 2 plus 1, which is equal to 3. Okay, 0 is always a great choice, right? So now it's 0 minus 1/2. Oops, sorry, this should be a 2. There you go. 2 minus 1/2 times 0. Well, a half times 0 is 0. So this is just going to turn into the number 2. Alright, and then again we can take, I'm running out of room, right? We can substitute 2 down in here. So now it's 2 minus 1/2 times 2. Well, that's just 1. So 2 minus 1, and that is 1. So here we go. We can go ahead and graph these. So -2 and 3 right here. 0 and 2. That's a great dot. And 2, 1. Ka-chow. There you go. So again, there's some methods, 2 methods, I should say, to graph different linear functions when we have them. So refer back to these if you need them. If you also need help, use those personal tutor videos that we've got online as well to help you. You're going to work through the next 2 pages and see how that goes. So again, ask questions if you need them. Watch this again if you need to, and raise your hand when you got questions. All right, good luck. Go get them.